Welcome back to Dog Talk. I'm your host, Zamara Hamilton. Today we have a special guest, Katlyn Barnes.
Hello.
She is a musical artist born and raised in Tuscumbia, Alabama. Her musical background goes back to a very young age, being involved in musical theater, songwriting circles, and performing at various community events and fundraisers. Over the years, she's honed in on a sound that's truly her own, blending soul, R&B, rock, and pop. Katlyn's passion for music has also led her in a career path. She previously worked as a chorus teacher at a local high school and is now operations manager at the historic Muscle Shoals Sound Studio. Welcome to our show, Katlyn.
Thank you for having me.
Of course. Let's give our audience a chance to get to know you before we first get into questions of the day. Tell us about yourself. Who is Katlyn Barnes?
Well, that's a loaded question. But yeah, so I'm creative in all forms, but musical, creativity has been my favorite. And so I'm a songwriter and artist, and I also get to do a lot at the studio in terms of helping other artists form their projects and book them at the studio and share the history of the recordings in Muscle Shoals in general. So, yeah.
That's beautiful. I love that. Where are you from?
So I'm from Tuscumbia.
Of course.
So, right over there. I grew up there, and I actually did go to Sheffield for first grade and a little bit of kindergarten. So, yeah.
You were great. I'm sure you loved it.
Yes, it was great. I still remember it.
What are some things you're currently doing today? What are you up to nowadays?
So, we're working on a new project right now. I put an album out in 23, so 2 years ago in November, which is crazy how fast that's already gone by. But I've got a new project I'm working on with some other people that won't necessarily be under Katlyn Barnes. It's going to be under a different name. So it's just it's a different sound.
We're very excited. You have some beautiful music.
Thank you.
You're operations manager at Muscle Shoals Sound Studio right here in Sheffield. A lot of famous people have recorded there over the years. Remind our audience of some of the music history that was made at Muscle Shoals Sound Studio and who was most recently your most well-known musician.
Yeah, so Muscle Shoals Sound Studio was founded by 4 guys known as the Swampers. So if you hear in Sweet Home Alabama, Muscle Shoals has got the Swampers. That's who it's referring to. And they opened the studio in 1969. They were there from 69 to 78, and they recorded artists from all sorts of genres, from Willie Nelson to the Staple Singers to the Rolling Stones to Paul Simon to Leonard Skinner to Linda Ronstadt and so on and so on. And back after they left in 78, they opened a new building on Alabama Avenue in Sheffield, which is now known as Cypress Moon. And then there they had Bob Dylan, Etta James came back, and some really incredible artists. But the studio, the original studio, 3614 Jackson Highway, was vacant and sat vacant for many, many years. And then the foundation was formed after the documentary Muscle Shoals came out in 2013. And so we're a nonprofit now, but we still are an active recording studio. So some artists that have been there recently, the most recent large name artist that you'd recognize is Lana Del Rey.
We love Lana Del Rey.
Yes, we love Lana. She's mother, right? But Lana Del Rey, Chris Stapleton recorded there. We had Winona Judd come by last year. We've got some very promising band that is very well known. Hopefully coming very soon. I can't say too much, but yeah.
That sounds fun. I'm very excited to hear that. Most people know being a singer or musician is a way to be in the business. What other kind of opportunities are there in the music industry?
It's a great question. So everything you see or everything you hear, there's a team behind. So from audio engineering, which is setting up microphones, instrument cables, running the console board that looks like a rocket ship.
Yes,
that's what my husband does. And it's, and I admire his brain. And it's like once you understand it, there's a lot of electrical engineering components in it that's similar to what you would do in like a trade school, but it's just for audio engineering. Then, on the other side of things, like outside of the technical things, you have artist managers, A&R reps, which are people from record labels that are searching out new talent, management. You have tour managers. So, what's a big tour right now? I know Beyonce just had a huge tour, and so there are so many people that are just working on that tour specifically. So then you think about every artist that's on tour right now, and say every artist has at least 100, 150 people on their team. Yeah. So that's background dancers, that's guitar techs that are making sure the guitar's in tune before the artist goes on, lighting people. I mean, there's any aspect of it that you can think about, there's a job for it.
Of course. We actually have some students watching that may be interested in the music business. If you could talk to yourself in the past as a young student, what advice would you give yourself?
I think there's only so much advice I could give a younger person or myself because a lot of it comes through just experience and living. So I would say never, ever close your mind to the possibilities and be okay with things not going how you plan for them.
That's beautiful.
Yeah, and be open, and then if you love something, truly embrace it and don't worry too much about what anyone else thinks, because at the end of the day, what people think is way less important than what you love and what you care about.
Opinion. That's a beautiful way to look at things.
Yeah.
What classes in school would you tell yourself to take to prepare for the future?
So in the music career, like in the music world specifically, I have never had to do one single-handed thing. I have to be able to, change a light bulb or call an insurance company and negotiate deals or kill fire ants. I mean, like in really in like a broad sense of things, take as many classes as you can that are a variety of topics, so you're like well-rounded and you're prepared for other avenues or other things that you may come up. You might have a little more knowledge about it. So if you took a business class and then down the road, you're able to pull from that. But things that align, with your interest, of course. But also do something you never thought about doing before, just to test it out. Knowledge is power. Absolutely. Yes. I took a law class in college, and it's come back and helped me so many times, just that one class. So, yeah.
Let's talk about your career as a musician. How did you know you wanted to be a singer? How did you get started?
So I knew I wanted to be a singer and just a performer overall when I was like 2 or 3 years old, and my dad took me to a restaurant where there were live musicians, and then he said, go up there and sing, and they asked what key, and I didn't know what a key was at the point. I was like, oh, yeah, that one sounds great. So yeah, pretty early on, as soon as I knew, but I had a lot of encouragement, and that really helped. And then later, like in high school, I started doing gigs on my own, and then I realized, oh wow, there's actually an outlet. Like I can actually maybe do this just on like a larger scope and be able to record my own music. And so it was a gradual thing, but I always knew I wanted to be a singer, and so I did theater a lot growing up, and then in college is really when I dove into making my own original music. Yeah.
You sound great. You were telling us about some of the projects you're working on. Can you go into some more depth about that?
Yeah. So the project is actually called Doves for Peace. That's the name of it.
That's sweet.
And there are 4 of us. And it's just like a catalog of songs that we wanted to make that didn't fit in a box, that we weren't thinking about a certain niche or audience or anything like that. We just not overthinking it, just making the music that just came to us,
just doing it.
Yeah. And so a lot of cool instrumental things happening on that record, and some ballads, but also some more upbeat, like
That's
get ready
fun.
music. And it's gonna start coming out in March, so I'm excited.
Is there anything else you want to talk to us about today?
I think that's all I've got to say about me, but I would tell like you or anyone else that's listening to this, whatever you decide that you like have a passion for and love, go for it. Even in this small town, there are there's opportunity to do music, to do film. it's an incredible gift that we have this area. So if you are interested in music, come visit the local studios, ask questions to people that work in the music industry around here. Networking is the most important thing, which means just talking to people and building relationships.
It's not always what you know, it's who you know.
Well, yeah, not always what you know, who you know, and that you're a kind person.
Of course.
Yes.
It was great having you on today. Thank you so much for coming on our show.
Thank you for having me.
Of course. That is all from Sheffield High School today. Cast and crew of Dawg Talk. See you next on our next episode.
Bring the